Son of a bitch!
So I recently got back from our trip to the Bahamas, which was amazing. But when I got back, I hit a roadblock that some of you might be familiar with, which is called stubborn fat. Some people will argue that it's a myth, but anyone who's come across it and experienced it know that there is something to it, as I do. So fortunately, I've come to this hurdle before, so I have already some strategies built in to help combat that. I've already started implementing them, and that's why I've held off on this video, because I wanted to make sure my strategies were working, which they are. I've lost a very important 2 pounds of that stubborn fat, so I'm going to get right to it. First of all, when it comes to stubborn fat, we're talking about, my theory is that you just get to a point where your body determines that this is sort of the composition that I need to maintain health, and it just simply doesn't want to burn fat any longer, so you have to take steps to force it into that. The first and important thing, which you should be doing already, is every week making sure you're evaluating your caloric needs. That way you can be about 15 to 20% below that every day, except at least once a week, maybe twice, every 4 to 5 days maybe. Have a refeed day, at which point you're going to be at or maybe slightly above your caloric needs, just to reset your maintenance level and prevent you from going into starvation mode. So if you're already doing that and you've got to the point where fat just doesn't want to come off, then that's where these more extreme steps come into play. So I'm going to talk about the problems, and then I'll go through them one by one separately and give some ideas of how I overcome them. They may or may not work for you, and you may want to do them sort of one at a time to find out which applies to you, or maybe you'll want to hit 2 or 3 at the same time. Some of them actually overlap, so some of them you might want to try at the same time. So problem 1 in my list is an estrogen imbalance. So estrogen, which of course is, or estrogens, which are female sex hormones, there's some bad ones that can lead to more fat storage. Number 2 is insulin resistance. So insulin, of course, you may know as a hormone that you need to shuttle fuels into the muscle, but it also can shuttle energy into fat. So if your insulin isn't working optimally, then you could find that you're putting on fat, or you're not able to burn it, in our case. Problem 3, which is kind of similar to insulin resistance, is carbohydrate sensitivity. Not necessarily the same thing, but very, very close. So those ones you might take similar steps to overcome. Leptin imbalance, that's yet another hormone that has to do with kind of the starvation mode, and that one should mainly be addressed with your refeed days, but again, I'll get into more of that. Number 5, adrenal fatigue. So that means your adrenal glands are fatigued, which can happen when you're in a low-calorie diet. Number 6, adiponectin, which is called the fat-burning hormone. And so obviously if that's not working, we're going to have problems. Problem 7, thyroid. That's a big one and an annoying one. Problem 8, pH balance. If your pH balance isn't right, you're not going to burn fat. So next I'm going to walk you through some of my steps, and depending on how long it is, I might have to split it into 2 parts, so we'll see.
Itch, son of a bitch!